Hey guys, RingofFan25 here, and look what just came in. Actually, it came in on Monday, but I wasn't here to receive it. And that is, you probably know what it is by now. I've been ranting on it about all week on the social media. And if you haven't seen it, well, you're about to see it, and it definitely dug deep into my wallet, but I believe it was worth it. And I'll tell you one thing, the bidding on this item was intense. Let's see what we got. Oh, mama, that looks good. Woo, let me go put it on here for you. Exhibit A, 1994 troublesome truck. Ooh, but that's not what we've been waiting for. This is what we've been waiting for. Exhibit B, baby. Another brake van. That's right. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, let me pull out their twins. Let's start with the brake van. You're probably wondering why I got another one. Well, reason number one, at first it was cheap and it ended up not being so by the end of the auction, but I thought, YOLO, I'm already into it. And you know what? Two troublesome brake vans, it doesn't hurt. And another reason was, this troublesome brake van is a little bit deformed. I wanted to have one that could run smoothly. But it was from 1994, but who cares? It's a troublesome brake van. And if you take a look at the faces, obviously the one from 1992 has a brighter face. They are both brown roofed. As you can see there are no magnets on the one from 1994. Another reason I got this one was it's in better condition. If you take a look at the brake van here, the face is completely cut off by the wood everywhere. And if you take a look at this by the edges, this is in a little bit better condition than most brake vans. And so yeah, two brake vans. As you can tell, I'm pretty hyped up about this. It adds a lot of versatility to my collection. I mean, two brake vans, and I'll definitely have an episode about this. I'll probably have to do a rewrite for one of them, but who cares? It's a brake van. Now let's take a look at this from 94. Another troublesome truck. As you know, I recently purchased another one earlier. Let's pull that one out. Actually, no, that one's the one I got like a year ago. Let me get the third one real quick. Okay, so here are the three stooges of troublesome trucks that I now own. And let's take a look. You got Curly, Mo, and Larry. And those aren't their real names. I just gave them to him after the Three Stooges. 1996, 1994, 1997. Now we just need 1995. But I'm not buying for a while. I'm pretty much broke. So yeah, there are those three. Reviews on that gang coming soon. Matter of fact, let me put Percy on them and see if he can pull all three, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Let's pull back out the troublesome twins of the troublesome brake vans. And just, Jesus Christ, I am so excited about these two brake vans being added to the collection. Let's see how Toby fares of pulling them. Yeah, Toby seems pretty fine with it. So, yeah. This is a great day in RingofFan25 history, isn't it? Is it not? So this is RingofFan25 saying goodbye and thank you for watching.
Reach for the speed, reach for the whistle, go where the rail may run. Reach for the words, reach for the story, follow the rainbow sun. To a shining time station, where dreams can come true, waiting there for you.
All around Sodor, the island is very busy, whether it be in the high elevated mountains, the low-lying valleys, or even the yards. But one of the busiest parts of the line, the docks. But one day work was slow, and Rusty decided to stay at the docks and have a conversation with one of the cranes. "Hello," said Rusty. "I'm Rusty. What's your name?" "My name," said the crane, "is Mr. Holiday." "But you're a crane," said Rusty. "I don't think cranes have last names, like, what's your first name?" "Well, this crane has a last name," said Mr. Holiday, "and I do not use my first name." Okay," said Rusty. "Then when did you come to the island?" "Perhaps a month ago," said the crane. "I really have no way of telling time." "So you're new here," said Rusty. "Well, like I said, I'm Rusty. I'm one of the narrow gauge engine diesels on the railway. I come to the docks often, usually to pick up ballast for repairing the rails, but sometimes I come for goods like I am today." "Well, you're not doing any good by just standing there," said the crane. "Well, the day's kind of slow," said Rusty. "I haven't had much to do lately." "Well, I don't think the day is as slow as you," said the crane. Rusty found this crane to be very rude. "Wow, you're almost as bad as Cranky," said Rusty. "Are all cranes this rude?" "Are all engines this talkative?" said the crane. Having heard enough, Rusty puffed away. Later that night, the engines were at the shed having a meeting. "I just can't take it anymore," said Rusty. "That crane is so rude." "I can see where you're coming from," said Rheneas. "But sometimes you have to give cranes a little leeway. They can get very cranky, and we have evidence. Twice." "I don't like cranes," said Duncan. "They're always so cranky, and I hate them." "You don't seem very prepared," said Scarlowy. Why do you need to be prepared to come to the shed? I never knew we were going to have a meeting." "I don't know, Rusty," said Duke. "I've been on this railway a long time, and these cranes have just gotten worse and worse. I'm afraid you're just going to have to put up with it." "Whoa," said Sir Handel. "What happened to your voice, Duke? You sound like Jesse Pinkman." "Who's Jesse Pinkman?" asked Duke. Next day, Rusty had to take a train to the docks. I just don't want to go to the docks today," said Rusty. "Well, why is that?" said Sir Topham Hatt. "Well," said Rusty, "it's just that I'm just not feeling well." "Not feeling well?" said Sir Topham Hatt. "Well, why'd you show up for work?" I was feeling better earlier," said Rusty. Sir Topham Hatt noticed Rusty's lie. "Rusty, what's this about? How come you don't want to go to the docks? You love the seaside. And you have to take a goods train there." "Well," said Rusty, "it's just that..." Rusty decided it was time to confess. "Sir, that new crane you got, well, he's just kind of mean to me." "Oh," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Well, what do you mean by mean?" "Well," said Rusty, he just insults me all the time. And I'm kind of tired of it." Sir Topham Hatt considered. "Well, Rusty," he said, "you should have come to me first, instead of putting up with all the insulting. You don't have to lie to protect yourself. I'll deal with this situation later, but I do need you to take that goods train." "Okay," said Rusty. Rusty felt much better. Rusty puffed away confidently. Rusty arrived late to the docks. He was held up at a signal. "Well," said the crane, "it seems typical of you to be late." Rusty noticed a package on the wharf. "Hey, Mr. Holiday," said Rusty. "There's a package behind you on the wharf. Mind getting it?" "Not at all," said the crane. "Now you can see how useful cranes are." but when he tried to turn around, you couldn't reach it and he fell over into the water. "Oh," said Mr. Holiday, "I hate being wet." Sir Topham Hatt appeared out of Rusty's cab. "Well, Mr. Holiday, it seems that you've learned your lesson. I don't accept cranes that are rude to my engine." "You accepted me," said Crank. "But you made amends," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Well, Mr. Holiday, I'll give you an option. You can either stay and be respectful to my engines, or you can be scrapped." And, well, that pretty much sums it up. Mr. Holiday almost pondered. "I guess I shall keep my job," said Mr. Holiday. "And," said Sir Topham Hatt, "I will now present Rusty with your first name." "Oh, please don't," said Mr. Holiday. "What is it? What is it?" asked Rusty. "Mr. Holiday's first name," said Sir Topham Hatt, "is Reginald. Reginald Holiday. And you don't even have a last name, Sir Topham Hatt, which makes me ponder why you would even come up with Holiday." "I enjoy Christmas," said Mr. Holiday. From that day forward, Mr. Holiday no longer bullied the engines, because he knew that if he did, he would end up in a scrapyard.